What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
Welcome into First Pitch, WagerTalk's premier MLB betting show for Wednesday, June 9th. I am Drew Martin, your host, joined by Matt Josephs and Tony Finn from WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Guys, we're going over 4 games. We got best bets at the end and a tough bets to follow here, guys. But hopefully we keep the good times rolling off of a 3-0 day yesterday. First up here, Matt Josephs at MidMajor Matt on Twitter, SportsMemo.com. Matt, welcome in. How you feeling today, buddy?
Feeling good, Drew. A little bump on the radar last night in the K-Props. Got the $2 play right, so that's all that matters. We took care of business for all the customers there. But we're looking to bounce back, Drew, and got plenty of good information for the show today. Yeah,
interested in some K-prop information if you guys like props. We also got to talk a little bit about sticky substances and Garrett Cole's comments here. And I know a good person to ask about it, Tony Finn from WagerTalk.com. Tony Slick Finn, welcome in, man.
Yes, thank you. It's a good day. As always, I'm up and around, although a little bit tardy this morning, but got another chance, to fulfill my life's mission, which is pissing people off and screwing things up. So we're here. Let's get it done.
Let's get it done. Late is not going to hold Tony back from bringing a good ball game to the show. Good information on today's slate. Starting off in the NL East Coast game here, Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies here, Matt. We got 7:05 Eastern, 82 degrees. Looks like rain might be in the forecast here. Davidson versus Eflin, righty-lefty here. Righty being the Eflin being the righty, excuse me. -135 favorites here. Philadelphia Phillies at home. Total of 9. I believe they're your Philadelphia Phillies here, Matt. Are you looking to bet them tonight?
Oh, goodness. I don't know if I'm ever looking to bet the Phillies, and if I ever do, it's probably a first 5 bet because, once again, the bullpen and the fielding just absolutely killing the Phillies as of late. We saw it last night. It was a comedy of errors in the field, and then it was the bullpen that got involved. So it was certainly a lot of issues with the Phillies. And my problem is here, look, Zach Eflin has some good numbers against the Braves. It's the 4th time he's seen them so far this season. He had 8 strikeouts twice and 2 strikeouts in the other matchup. But Zach Eflin, the last couple starts, looks like he's getting tired a little bit. You saw that he could barely get out of the 5th inning. He couldn't get out of the 5th inning in his last start against Tampa Bay. He's only gone 6 a bunch of times here. So it's a guy that I'm very concerned about. His strikeout prop number is 5.5 most places. Seems like an over here. But, I mean, look, he's gone over this number and all but 1 start this month, so why isn't it higher? Atlanta also a top 5 K rate the last couple of weeks, so it seems a little bit trappy here. And then you look at Davidson. Davidson's a lefty. The Phillies have had their problems at times with lefties so far this season. This is one of those classic cases, Drew, where you could consider the Phillies first 5, or one of the things I always love to do is if the Phillies get a lead, you look to take advantage of the Braves or their opponent, in this case the Braves, with a live bet on the opposition, whether it's the run line, whether it's the money line. Heck, let's say the Phillies go up 4-0, you can get the Braves 3.5, and then just let the Phillies bullpen do their work. So to me, it's either you're looking at the Phillies first 5, that way you take their bullpen out of it, or you look at betting the Braves live if the Phillies get a lead, either the run line or the money line.
Okay, yeah, that's a look towards the later innings, maybe towards the over as well, because the Braves bullpen hasn't been exactly lights out here, Tony. And something on the Phillies I noticed doing some research on this game, a little bit of home-road dichotomy. On the road, 11-19, at home, 17-12. So kind of want to be looking to bet on them at home. -135 price tag, though, a little bit too pricey for me, so I didn't get involved. What are you thinking here in the NL East tonight, Tony?
I am not involved in this game either, although, and you mentioned it right before you turned it over to me, and that was the dichotomy. This team is not just this year. There's a recent history that if you're a Philly supporter, your probabilities of cashing with them is going to be much greater at home. And as Matt mentioned, they haven't been the best against left-handers. This game has a lot of ifs about it. Eflin's not a big if for me, in truth. I mean, coming into the last game, I think he had 10 starts, and he'd completed 6 innings 10 times. Now, maybe Matt's correct. Maybe he's starting to feel some fatigue, or maybe some arm issues. Maybe it's dead arm, whatever it might be. he's made some changes to his arsenal. He's gotten away from his four-seamer or his two-seamer, which he needs to be able to throw because he needs to create ground balls. He's a fly ball heavy pitcher. If there's one issue, and everyone's gotten better seemingly every single year, his command is acceptable. His Ks are acceptable. He's going to get out there, and as he's shown this year, throw 6 innings. But his propensity for giving up launches that leave the ballpark is a concern for me, especially when we get to the dog days of summer. As far as Davidson goes, this guy's still an unknown. I mean, I have a lot of questions. I asked some questions about him yesterday that I didn't get answered, which I was surprised. But Snicker, he likes the kid. He's had one really good start. He's had 2 starts that according to Snicker, were great, except for in one of them he walked 5. So command is an issue for this kid, for Davidson, and it has been an issue even at on the farm as opposed to the mothership now. But he gets another start, and this is a game that I'm not involved in. If I had a lean, I would probably as well have a lean to the over here. I didn't check the umpire this morning on this game because I just passed right over it, but I'll take a look and see who it is.
All right, guys, shout out to the chat box right now. Abby, Rara, we got Mike Campbell in the house, Alaska in the house as well. Let us know where you're watching from. So we got some people all over the world here joining us, and we love it live. So feel free to chime in here in the chat box what you're looking to bet and anything you want to hear about as we got 3 games left. And please smash that like button as well before best bets here, guys. We got Milwaukee and Cincinnati as the next game up, Tony. This is actually my best bet, but interested in your guys' opinions here. Anderson versus Gutierrez. Gutierrez, 25-year-old Cuban coming over from the Cuban leagues here, Tony. -110, actually as high as -115. So Cincinnati taking money, total of 10. What are you thinking in the Queen City tonight, Tony?
Well, before I go dig into this one, I'm not going to dig very deep, but Joe West is the scheduled umpire tonight in Philly. So my lean to the over is even stronger with Joe West behind the plate. So depends on what kind of mood Joe's in. Is he looking for some FaceTime? Is he going to start singing a country and western song? They're going to have him mic'd up. A lot of things go on with Joe West, and I typically avoid him unless I'm on the over. Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Anderson. If you can listen, Anderson has not been consistent this year. Milwaukee they've really done a pretty good job of giving their pitchers rest, which means pitching on extra rest. Anderson pitched on regular rest. His last start, I think it was against Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. And again, he didn't pitch very well. He's been up and down. They've used him out of relief. He did get bailed out by Suter and Hader. They cleaned up for him in his last start while he went, I think, 4.1 or 4.2 in that game and allowed too many runs for me to trust him with a Milwaukee offense supporting him. That's really the reason. Listen, as far as Vlad goes for the Reds, in his second start, he overcame some nerves, I think, as far as what he's dealing with, and he pitched pretty well for 5 innings. He kind of blew the lead. He got an early lead. He was facing, I think, the overrated Cardinals at Busch. He threw 77 pitches, allowed 200 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. A lot of question marks about this kid, and I don't know enough about him to just jump right in. I mean, I do know this. Second career start for the Reds last Thursday, and he allowed 200 runs, like I said, 5 innings pitched, struck out 3, walked 3. And the sample size is small, Drew, but 2 starts shows a 2.7 ERA. That's deceiving. If you look, his xFIP is about 5.85. His 6-to-5 K to baseball walk ratio through 10 innings is pretty pedestrian. And he has a 143 BABIP, which means regression is in the future. And again, that's a small sample size, but that's what I have. I'm not involved in this game, but I'm going to watch a little bit.
Matt, coming to you here on closing in this one, I agree with a lot of what Tony said. I think, the jury's still out on Gutierrez, the Cincinnati starter, but his numbers really aren't that good. I like betting on young guys coming over, especially, for whatever reason from, let's call it the Caribbean or Latin American pitchers coming over. I like him to be, more of the strikeout, come after you guys, high velocity. I'll look to bet on those guys. His numbers, just 6 strikeouts, 5 walks. That's obviously not a great strikeout to walk ratio, which makes me actually look to kind of fade him. Now, could that change in the future? Absolutely, Matt. But at this point, I think Milwaukee's the side here. What are you thinking tonight, Matt?
I can't back Brett Anderson. I just can't. I mean, he doesn't go deep enough, and there's still way too many innings before I get to Hader and Williams. And certainly the Milwaukee offense is way too inconsistent. So I can't back Milwaukee, but I also can't back Cincinnati. It's Gutierrez's first home start, and we know what Cincinnati as a ballpark plays like. So I don't know if the fact that he doesn't get strikeouts is going to hurt him, how much is going to hurt him because of how much of a bandbox Cincinnati is. You look at the Reds. The Reds had a huge strikeout problem. They had a stretch where they were the number one team in terms of K rate over a 2-week period. Now they're in the least. They are actually down by the Houston Astros at around 18.9% the last 2 weeks. So the Reds are making contact with the ball. And I think in a game like this where you've got two very shaky pitchers, you could look potentially at an over. Anderson faced the Reds in Cincinnati earlier last month, gave up 2 runs and 4 hits in 5 innings. I don't expect him to go 5 innings. That second time through the order, Anderson is usually pretty brutal. So I would consider an over in this game because I think that the fact that this game's in Cincinnati might hurt Gutierrez, who doesn't have a strikeout pitch. And I think that both teams could find some offense in this one.
Yeah, it's not a bad look at all. It's also near 80 degrees tonight projected in Cincinnati. So 2 games got down, guys, 2 to go plus best bets. But Tony, Prez actually on Wager Talk today brought up a situation that just happened, I believe, last night. Matt, get your opinion here as well. In terms of what Garrett Cole, he was asked a question in terms of using, any type of foreign substance. And he kind of just said, I really don't know how to answer it. Pretty much just saying yes without saying, yes, I've used it. In yesterday's show, Dave Koken and Steve Merrill, we were talking about betting unders and really pumping the brakes here, at least to see what MLB, how they're enforcing this about pitchers having, a foreign substance, using that to get obviously an advantage with pitching the baseball. Are you using that in your handicapping here in the near future, Tony, in terms of betting totals or sides?
I think on Joe's show, on his Sirius XM show on Saturday, we talked about this extensively. In fact, I came on late in that episode. They brought me on late, kept me for my limit, about 5 or 10 minutes, and then kicked me off. And that's all they were talking about was this. And I mentioned this Saturday, and that was that I will watch. You won't see me play too many totals right now. I'll trust pitchers for who I believe they are. And this isn't something that's that difficult to, if you want to track it and if you want to make some projections or call it what you want, educated guess, a guess, whatever it is. There are certain pitchers you can track. You can get all the information you need on rotations, RPMs for pitchers, their pitchers, their pitches, what they've been using this year compared to last year. And if there's a big jump in RPMs or movement in their secondary pitches, such as their slider, their curveball, then I strongly suggest let's watch. Are they going to quit using the substance? Are the umpires actually going to follow this directive? I have a lot of questions. My suggestion, what I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a while before I jump on a young kid or a veteran, unless I have a really good gut feeling that they're going to continue to do what they're doing or they're not. So I hate this. You got a big game, you jump out there and you got somebody. Let's use you can use Bauer for an example, and then the umpire. This isn't the situation where they're going to ask you to remove your hat because you got grease dripping from it. They're going to sit you down, kick you out of the game, and make an example. Somebody's going to have to be making an example of right now because baseball needs to fix this. And if this is how they're going to attack it, then I suggest you wait a little while, Drew, or at least if you have any questions, watch.
Yeah, let the numbers come to you. And Matt, I mean, both sides and totals interested in your opinion. Also with K props, is this something maybe you're not looking for as many Ks going forward, Matt?
I mean, I think I'm looking more for the consistent guys, not necessarily just that. I mean, I don't play the high end of the market for the most part. Unfortunately, I was on Bieber yesterday, and Bieber continued his recent trend of going under the total when it comes to strikeouts. But I don't think it's going to matter as much for the middle guys who, only get 4 or 5 strikeouts a game. Now, maybe they're better at hiding it. and that's the reason why. So to me, when it comes to K-props, I'll start to notice if somebody slips off. Unfortunately, I'm not going to know until the game happens where, oh, yeah, this guy's going to get kicked out. This guy's been having success because of that. It's not going to change how I'm going to approach K-props, but I'm already a guy who doesn't look at the Coles, the Biebers, the guys who get so many strikeouts that may get more attention because those markets are a lot more sharper than the guys in the middle at the 4.5, 5.5 K-props.
Okay, good analysis there, guys. And let us know in the chat box what you guys are looking to do here going forward in MLB betting, K-props, totals, sides, and if this is going to affect your handicap going forward. And if you're watching on replay, please drop us a line below on YouTube. Let us know if it's affecting your handicap moving forward here on the diamond. As we head to our next game here, we got Cleveland and St. Louis, Mejia versus Wainwright. And Matt, coming to you first here, minus 123 is what I'm seeing the Cardinals at as the home favorite, 7.5 being the total. Low total here. Cleveland going 2 NL here, so pitcher's going to have to bat. What do you like here, Indians and Cardinals?
Well, I mean, I woke up this morning when I was doing my list and going over everything that I was going to potentially play. I'm like, all right, Cards first 5 because Mejia doesn't go deep in games. He has made his last start against Baltimore when only 3 innings, gave up 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he was okay during those 3 innings. And then you look at Wainwright, and Wainwright is really good the first time through the order, 187 batting average against. Second time it's a little concerning at 314. But the problem is that the Cardinals are unbackable right now. They've lost a bunch of games at home. They haven't won a single game yet in this homestand. And you've got an Indians team that's hitting, and it feels like when you're a bad hitting team, when you start hitting, it continues on, and it's kind of contagious here. I was looking potentially then at the first 5 under. It was 4. Now, the problem is if Mejia doesn't go very deep, who's going to cover those last couple of innings? Do the Cardinals eventually wake up offensively? So to me, I couldn't really play anything. I leaned to the Cardinals first 5 money line at first, but then Wainwright's second time through the order concerned me. And then I leaned to the first 5 under. And that would probably be my play in this game. But I'm also concerned about Wainwright's second time once again, and the fact that the Cardinals could eventually wake up hitting against the pitcher who is going to give it a lot for 2 or 3 innings. But then what's going to happen after that?
Yeah, second time through, always an important part of the handicap. And Tony, talking about Wainwright, throughout his career, he's been a lot better at home. But the fact is the Cardinals, to Matt's point, have lost 6 straight games. I don't know if I can lay a price with them tonight. What are you thinking, Indians and Cards tonight?
Well, I typically, when I see Wainwright, my pupils get large. I get excited because I've been for 2 years, I've been a guy that will, in the right situation, would fade Wainwright. No, I won't back him. However, his matchups this year have been favorable, the last couple of them in particular. And I actually have supported Wainwright and the Cardinals a couple times this year, and I don't support them much because I believe they're overvalued. I believe that in the beginning of the season, I played it under the 83.5 season totals on them. And I think they're overvalued as an offense and overvalued as a pitching staff. This is a team that showed they were hitting left-handers pretty hard, and that they were successful against left-handers. But I broke down that about a week ago. Broke down every left-handed pitcher they had faced, I should say, throughout the season, first 2 months. And the best left-hander they'd faced was Doolittle for 1 inning. So I have not looked at it recently, but I don't support the Cards. Much like Matt just said, I can't support the Cardinals. They're in a division that who knows who's going to win it. At this point in time, I'd still lean to the Cubs at this point, but it's wide open, whoever gets hot. And the Cardinals have been streaky. They've lost some games in a row, and they've won some games in a row. If they continue this year, they will even get less of my attention because that makes those kind of streaks are something that I have a hard time with. I prefer to see a zigzag and be able to jump into that rather than a hot streak. So that's my opinion on Wainwright. Matt described the young kid for Cleveland perfectly, and this Cleveland pitching staff's good, guys. It's good. It really is. It's much better than average. But it's difficult. It's difficult. They're a Milwaukee in my world. They have good pitchers, and you just never know where they're going to hit the ball. I was on Bieber last night, minus 1.5. I thought the price was right against a team I don't trust, and I got fortunate and cashed.
Tony, maybe a game we get some opinion here on the nightcap. The Kansas City Royals, LA Angels, 9:40 Eastern on ESPN, nationally televised game here, last game on the card. Royals have lost 4 straight games here, Tony, and they got Keller on the hill going up against Canning. Canning minus 145 favorites, total of 9 on the West Coast here. Angels lineup is hot. You looking towards the favorite at home?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to play this game, I'm going to be on the Angels. I certainly would like to see the Angels stay healthy for just a couple weeks. I mean, the last couple of years seems like somebody's always hurt, or their pitching is always underperforming. I mean, that's recency bias, obviously, but that's how I see the Angels. And this team, I have no doubts this team can hit. They're, especially if they get into that groove and have that, they get their mojo. But they are always going to struggle with this staff they have. They're going to struggle to pitch. Canning, this kid's going to give up home runs. I lean to the over in this game even more than I do the Angels, simply because I feel the same way about Kansas City. Listen, Kansas City in the next couple of years, I think they're doing the right things. They're building from within. You're not going to see a bunch of players come through free agency, maybe some trades, but the back end of their pitching staff, the bullpen hasn't been great, but there's some talent back there. There's some on the farm, so you're going to see Kansas City get back to what they did best back in 2015 when they were a small ball team. They pitched well, and they put the ball in play and made other teams make a play. That's what they want to do. That's what they're trying to get to right now. They can't pitch. They can hit a little bit. So Lara gets hot. They can put some runs up. So I'd lean to the over in this game. I'm sorry I don't have an opinion on the side, but it would be the Angels. If I was there, I'm not there, but Angels over would be my leans.
Matt, we do have the wind blowing out tonight on the West Coast, nationally televised game. You interested in getting involved here, Royals and Angels?
I mean, it would probably be an Angels first 5 because the Angels bullpen is horrendous, and I want no part of being involved with that unit, one of the worst and one of the highest ERAs in baseball. I mean, quite simply, Keller stinks. I mean, it's a race between him and Mitch Keller for who's the worst Keller of all of them. Helen Keller probably pitches better than both of them do. You look at what Keller's done this year. I mean, first time through the order, people hitting 312. Second time through the order, people hitting 302. So there's not a lot here. You've got an Angels team that's playing good baseball right now. It's a rematch of a game that they had April in Kansas City. Both pitchers were okay. They went about 5 innings. Keller gave up 1 run and 4 hits in 5 2/3. Canning gave up 6 hits and 2 runs in 5 innings. Canning's the better pitcher of the two. That's not saying very much because he's not the best either. Both offenses are pretty solid, and as you say, the wind's blowing out, so an over could come into play here as well. But I would say if you're playing anything, it would probably be an Angels first 5. Stay away from the Angels bullpen and kind of isolate yourself with Keller, who I don't think is very good.
How about Kyle Keller?
Matt Joseph.
Can we include Kyle Keller in the Kellers that are in the major leagues now? Because that's the third. We used with Pittsburgh. So let's just say all Kellers.
No, Mitch Keller.
Right. That's right.
Mitch Keller.
Yeah, there's Mitch, there's Matt, Mitch, there's Brad, and then there's Kyle, who plays for he's a relief pitcher for Pittsburgh. So there's 3 Kellers.
Well,
so
Helen
all
has
of them are bad. Okay, there you go. You're right. All of them. Fade them all. Correct.
All of them, almost the Helen Keller reference there. That was a good one, Matt. But best reference on the show so far from Matt Joseph. Matt, follow him on Twitter at MidMajor Matt. Matt, what do you got going on at Sports Memo? Some K props up, or what sides totals? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I got some K props up for tonight. It's something we've been doing really well on so far this year, and certainly that's going to be something we're going to take a look at, a couple of them. There's one that I'm waiting to see a number on that I may add a little bit later on tonight, but certainly K props tonight is what you can find on sportsmemo.com.
And guys, if you're new to kind of betting sports, betting baseball here, it's mostly been sides, totals, first 5s. But now the market's like jumping out. And depending on the sports books, you can get first 3, first 7 innings. It's getting kind of crazy. But talking about the K props, Matt, because you know it, as well as most people out there. Whenever I go through it, and granted, I'm not in a state where, it's FanDuel and DraftKings or, using the offshores even, I've noticed they don't have the K props on every single starter that night. Is that a normal thing at all the sports books? And do you know what's behind them posting K props on some pitchers and not others?
Sadly, that's correct. They do not put them out for everybody, and that's because they're worried about getting beaten up with a bad number, because there are some pitchers that we just don't have enough information on. And sometimes, like, I know why the Gomber I'm looking at Austin Gomber. Okay, I'll tell everybody. I'm looking at the Austin Gomber one because potentially against the Marlins, lefties have had a lot of success, but because we don't know who the Marlins pitcher is, some books haven't even put out lines for those games yet, and because of that, they don't put out props, they don't put out anything. It is a bit of a frustrating thing, but that's also why for props, if you are in this market, you want to have FanDuel, DraftKings, William Hill, all the other ones, BetMGM, and that way you can shop because each book has different strategies. I've talked about it already. FanDuel, for the most part, they'll take the K-prop market, raise the prop one in their book, and then heavily juice both sides, and then it's up to you to decide if you want to pay the juice on it. But that's why you got to have a lot of books, because everybody has different beliefs when it comes to that market.
Yeah, it's a fun one to kind of handicap overall. And yeah, Tony, any quick thoughts here before we go to best bets?
No, I was going to say he's absolutely right. It's a lot of it has to do with the pitcher. There may be a pitcher that's on his third start. Maybe he's only gone 3 innings. Maybe they're stretching him out in real games as opposed to on the alternative site. That Matt's correct. I mean, they're not going to take too many chances on those. If they don't know if he's going to go 4, he's going to go 5. There's a lot of question marks, and unless you're a pitcher that has a history, as Matt described, chances are you're probably not going to get a solid number. You're probably not going to get a good number, and if you get one, it's probably going to be juiced, as he mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like part of, it is part of the handicap, and what I think it makes it fun is like Matt, you do this a lot. It's not only how many strikeouts, but you have to kind of factor in a huge part of the handicap. How long is the pitcher going to go, right?
Yeah, how long they're going to go. Who's the umpire? What's the K rate? How good are you at home? How good are you on the road? There are certain teams that are tough to strike out at home. There are certain teams that are tough to strike out on the road. So there's a lot of things, and that's kind of what baseball handicapping is. It's just a ton of numbers that you have to go through, and it's a specialized market that I think sometimes you can take advantage of.
Yeah, let's get into best bets now. Mid-Major Matt on Twitter, at Mid-Major Matt. He's got his packages. Baseball, also does college football. Make sure to check that out, sportsmemo.com. Matt, where are you going for best bets tonight?
All right, so there was somebody in the chat who just asked, what's my favorite K-prop of the day? And this is my prop of the day, and it's Sean Manaea over 5.5 strikeouts. You look at Arizona, 24.9% K rate the last 2 weeks, 25.8% K rate on the road, which is the 7th highest in baseball. Manaea has gone over this number in 3 straight starts and 7 overall. Arizona has seen a pitcher go over this number in 10 of their last 14 games, and the reason why I can't say opposing starting pitchers, because there was a game in Arizona where the Cardinals starting pitcher had a struggle, but the reliever came in and had 6 strikeouts in 2+ innings. And then the final thing, and Tony can speak to this because he's the umpire guy, Jim Wolf, his games, there's an average of 21.3 strikeouts in the contest, which to me means that he's a very pitcher-friendly umpire. So I'm looking at Sean Manaea over 5.5 strikeouts for the Oakland Athletics at a pretty reasonable juice, depending upon what book you use.
Tony, do you want to speak quickly to Matt's best bet, and also what's your best bet today?
Matt's absolutely right. Jim Wolf, his brother was an ex-major league pitcher. He's always been pitcher-friendly, and the older he gets, the more assignments he has behind the plate. I believe he's become even more patient. So if you're going to if you have Jim Wolf wearing a vest and having that assignment, Matt's absolutely right. You're going to lean toward him being pitcher-friendly, not hitter-friendly, especially with a veteran like that on getaway day. A getaway day game, typically, if they're trying to make sure they make their plane, the K zone just gets bigger. These guys are human, just like us. So yeah, Matt's correct. As far as my best bet, my best bet is the Mets tonight. Listen, I faded Walker last time out because I just felt like his peripherals are good, his numbers are good. He's been fun to watch and see him kind of excel with a team as opposed to pitching for a team that couldn't support him, not only in runs, but a lot of times defensively. And I'm always one that's willing to fade Matt Harvey, although Harvey's been better this year than he's been probably in 3 years. He's shown some consistency, although his consistency is still not good enough for me to support. And I like Baltimore. Listen, I'm more than happy to support Baltimore and give you some accolades on the Orioles when they're facing a left-hander. But I really like Walker tonight, like the Mets tonight, and I think the price is not only fair, I think it has value. My selection, Walker, the New York Mets over Baltimore and Harvey.
I like it, Tony. I like your best bet. And guys, my best bet will be the Milwaukee Brewers. Wrong team favored here. Milwaukee Brewers. I bet them plus 111, risk 100 to win 111. Anderson on the hill for the Brewers. Not great numbers by any means, but he's going up against Gutierrez here, the 25-year-old Cuban pitcher. Only 2 starts in MLB. I'm not against pitching, the new pitcher into MLB, but the fact is, I like backing these young guys when they're more strikeout prone, kind of dominate the opposing lineups. He's only got 6 strikeouts and 5 walks. Short sample size, granted, but not exactly looking to back him right now, especially against the hottest team in MLB. The Brewers have won 5 of 6, 10 of 11. The trend is your friend, and they're the first place Brewers now. I'm backing them here at the plus price. So recap here. 4 best bets. I got the Brewers plus 105. We get Matt Josephs on Sean Manaea, his K-prop over 5.5 strikeouts, and Tony Finn, New York Mets minus $1.25. So that does it for the show, guys. For Tony Finn and Matt Josephs, I am Drew Martin. Please check that like button on your way out. It does help us out. Best of luck with your bets if you're tailing. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks for tuning in. Best of luck.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.